All right, guys, welcome back. It's my Asian brother from another mother, Tony. Hey, Tony.
Hey,
Tony. What is your YouTube channel for everybody?
MTG Lion. So I'm the lion, the drama llama.
And my friend Simon. Hey, Simon.
Hey.
All right, so we're in Houston, Texas. Everybody, by the way, Tony is not 1 foot tall. Tony is actually how tall are you, by the way?
5'8" and a half.
You're pretty tall. Tony's pretty tall. So people have put in the comments before.
Who put in the comments before?
You know how people troll us.
Yeah,
it's
but
like, you and I are related.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Some
I
troll,
get that.
Some troll. I gotta read it one of these days. Some troll said that you were the the equivalent of the birthing of my mom with my brother. I don't know, some sister.
You should do,
I just the trolling.
The mean tweets.
Yeah, the mean tweets.
Oh, yeah.
Tweets. Of all the mean tweets that I got, but they said that we were related by blood, or I don't know, some weird.
Oh, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
I've seen that before. That we're the same person.
We're the same person.
We're the same
exactly.
person.
Yeah. So
there are two people here.
Yeah,
I can confirm that.
So we're in Houston. We're dropping off this PSA 10 Alpha Black Lotus signed by Christopher Rush.
Oh, this makes me so happy.
And
this makes me elated too.
We're gonna be. This is the highest graded modern day sale at $435,000 US dollars. It's probably gonna be worth millions one day. But my client's picking it up here, overseas client, and then we're actually doing this video. We'll have more videos on that, and Tony will have a bunch of videos too. But this video is all about buyouts and experiments in business and magic. Simon, why don't you take it away? Sure. Simon has some weird stories about what he bought out. What did you buy out? Try to buy out.
So I've had two major buyouts in sort of my magic finance history. These were quite a while ago now, but the first one was I bought out a card from Torment called Overmaster. 1 red sorcery, makes a sorcery uncountable and draws a card. Basically, I'd seen that it had done well in some legacy decks, sneak and show and tell decks, and I looked basically online. There wasn't very many copies of it online, and it was very cheap, 15 cents to 60 cents a copy, and there was only a couple hundred online. So this was sort of the early days of Magic Finance. I thought I would see what would happen if I just bought them all. So I spent a few $100s and just bought all of the Overmasters.
How many do you have?
So I bought probably maybe 200 or so Overmasters, maybe 250.
Well, I remember that spike. I was talking to Simon. Yeah, I remember that. I was like,
So Overmaster is a non-reserve.
Correct. Just a red. Yeah,
there's a speculation.
I was sort of curious to see. This was maybe kind of early days or before real spikes were happening, before a lot of the interest in buyouts.
And you posted a picture, right?
I posted.
That's the picture. I remember seeing the picture.
I posted a picture. I can't remember if it was the source or on the old.
I saw a picture of a bunch of them. Yeah.
I posted a picture of them as well. That's I think that's become part of the style for buyouts and spikes too, as you post a picture.
So I find that much more respectful than someone saying I bought 1,000 modes and there's no picture of 1,000 modes together.
Yeah.
But 100, 20. Even there's no picture of 20 modes together. If you Google it, there's not more than 4 modes together.
Oh, so you believe in the marketing after the fact?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that makes it more effective.
Well, I mean, it shows that you did buy them. So I remember that because I was like, okay, this is legit. It's not some random person bragging on Reddit or it's legit.
And Tony was the famous. Rudy, you watching this? What's it called?
The Narwhal.
The Narwhal from Homelands.
Yeah, from Homelands.
Yes, not Wall of Kelp. Narwhal.
Well, I bought all of them.
What? Really?
I have Wall of Kelp.
Well, so explain your theory. This is a reserve list.
Yeah,
explain that.
Wall of Kelp is reserve list. Narwhal is. Well, I was going to make a big Patreon, and I was going to sell these Narwhals, sign them, $5. So I had to pick a card, right? I had to pick a card on the reserve list that I could buy cheaply, right? And then make a margin.
Is that your favorite animal?
No, it was just an animal.
How much were they back in the day?
20 cents, maybe 15
cents.
cents.
So that's cheap.
Yeah, now it's $1 or $2, but it
went
up to 5.
That's 5%, 5 times.
No, it is. The buy list on it is 25 cents now.
Oh, you get your money back.
Yeah, I can get all my money back. But I'm looking for that $5 signed Narwhal, right? So I was like, man, I'm gonna get 100 Patreons one day, just like Rudy. And then I'm gonna sign my Narwhals and they'll become really popular. And it didn't happen. I still have, hundreds of Narwhals.
All right. But so what was the purpose of buying out the card? I mean, other than the Patreon,
it was
experiment for you?
It was mainly I wanted an animal because MTG Lion. I couldn't buy Savannah Lion or whatever. I should have bought Savannah Lion because Savannah Lion Unlimited is so expensive now. That was one card I was looking at.
Or revised ones, how much are those?
Revised is like $8 to $10 now.
Oh, so that is a little bit expensive.
Yeah, it is.
It makes sense though.
They weren't that.
No, they were 25 cents back then. So I made the wrong decision. I didn't buy because I think old school, right?
Yeah.
Savannah Line, old school, same artwork. You can use a revised one even though it's the same artwork. But yeah, I could have bought any animal and decided which of these animals. So I did a search.
Yeah.
Which of these animals are on the reserve list? And a Narwhal pop up. I was like, oh, okay, great. Let's buy this one. It was kind of random, yeah. I should have bought Savannah Lion. Yeah. I mean, I could have bought them for 25 cents, a few hundred. I mean, obviously they would have done a lot better than a Narwhal.
Right. Well, speaking of old school and buyouts and all that, what's the difference between reserve list buyouts and like these crazy non-reserve buyouts? I mean, Simon, what's the biggest difference in your eyes?
I think that, so you have a certain sense of protection, I think, in a reserve list buyout. You should be able to get your money back at least, but I think there's a lot more risk, and there's a lot more spikes both ways for something that's not reserve list. So if you're buying a card, a rare from just a new set, for example, it might spike, and it might spike hard for a Pro Tour or for a GP, but you have to be able to get out of that card as well. So just buying the card and it spiking doesn't make you any money.
You did have a standard card or a standard card.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that there was two cards that I had sort of played around with spikes. The second card I played around with is a card called Boros Reckoner. So that card.
I pre-ordered it, and that's really. I was telling him about pre-order.
Ballsy.
That is.
Yeah, so
crazy.
I bought out Star City and TCG Player, a bunch of other places. Basically about $2.99 a piece, and I think the height of the card was about $22 to $25.
Wow!
I sold an average of mine.
For 10.
Yeah, so I sold
that.
Most of mine was about $15 or $16 after you got rid of shipping and fees.
That's actually very nice. That's the Hyatt. Yeah, that's the Hyatt.
So actually, the funny thing about that one is a lot of my sales, I just buy listed them back. So the same stores I bought them from. So I bought them from.
So you don't want to retail them out or?
Again, there's a time element.
So that deck was hot for one Pro Tour, and then it went.
Oh. So you have to add speed and convenience.
Correct. I had 200 or 250 Boros Reckoners, and I needed to get out of them. And so if I could buy list 10 or 20 at a time, even if I'm getting 15 instead of $20, also, if you're selling them for $20 a piece, but you're shipping them to one person at a time, you can't get out of that quickly. And there's a cost and time element there as well. So my time is worth money, and so
Simon, by the way, has a professional career in something other than Magic. So keep that in mind. He's not doing this as a business primarily.
Yeah. So both of these were just purely to see what would happen. I wanted to do an old card, not reserve list, and a new card, again, not reserve list.
So you have to do a reserve list next then.
Yeah, I mean,
you got it.
So I think everyone's seen what happens with reserve list cards. I think everyone knows if you put the time and money, maybe not a Narwhal, but if you put it to an old school card.
No, everybody go out there and buy all the Narwhals.
No, don't, because I'm still buying them. I gotta accumulate them.
And so what happens if the Narwhals? Let's just make up some make-believe numbers. What if Narwhals go to like $10?
Then I know.
Are you gonna start like going crazy?
He's still gonna buy them.
No, I'm still gonna buy them because like Filia, right? Filia. I think that's just card I'm actually known best for because I love that.
Right.
I bought it for under 2. I kept buying. Then the human decks came. So you hit 20. See what's reprinted. I'm still buying at 10.
How many do you have with Thalia?
Probably over 800.
800.
I have
Thalia,
alters.
the Guardian.
Guardian Fragment.
Yeah.
What is the
Dark Ascension?
Avacyn or
Dark Ascension.
Oh my God, 800.
Yeah. But I have them. Altered.
You should be selling those to
Holy
buy up.
Mother of God.
No, but I have them altered. So they all look kind of different.
Wow.
You have 800?
Well, I said, well, not 800 altered. I have about like 70 altered.
Wow.
And I have another 20 that I've given to artists and they're taking their time. They're
What
all
is it?
local. All local.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your fascination with Thalia?
I just like it. It's one. I think it's the most beautiful card in Magic. I was asking Daniel if he could help me buy it, but we found out it was digital.
Digital. Yeah. So as far as old school buyouts, are they sustainable? Can they hold? old school and standard. Obviously, we've agreed that standard and all those other numbers.
You gotta get rid of them.
Get rid of them fast.
Yeah.
Old school buyouts, are they sustainable? Let's say we talk about big money.
Yeah.
Let's say someone says, screw this. Today I'm going to spend $2 million on all the Mishra's workshops. Mishra's workshop. Okay? Think about the money here. Right now they're about $2,000 to $1,000 play, plus or minus. Let's just say $1.50, 1,500 on average.
Yeah.
Let's say $1 million. How far would that get me? That's what? At least that's 1,000 of them, basically, almost, right? Almost 1,000. Well, depending on what price.
No, it would be, if it's 1,000, it's about 100 for $1 million.
Oh wait.
Yeah, 100.
No, 100 times 1,000. Hold on, is
100,000. Oh, so 1,000. Yeah,
1,000.
Yeah, 1,000.
Is that right?
Yeah, about 1,000. Yeah.
1,000 for workshops.
Yeah.
Would that really increase? Would that change the price? Would that dramatically change?
Well, so the first question you have to ask is, are there 1,000 for sale?
And you would have to like do the ultimate sneak attack.
Well,
at the same time.
So that's what I don't. I mean, you know, the Narwhal thing was Patreon and not really for investment. But if you're going to buy out
like a
something,
true investment,
A playable card.
It doesn't any card. If you're going to buy it out, you do have to buy it out. I think, or at least there needs to be the illusion that it's been bought out.
Without spiking it so fast.
Correct, because you don't want to buy into your own spike if you're trying to. If you're trying
no, but you have to because
that's what I did. Yeah, I had to.
You're right about supply. It's impossible to do 1,000 Mishra's workshop without MTG stocks, MTG Goldfish going crazy.
Yeah, it went crazy because I was trying to buy the foil layers for 25, which is a really good price today.
Yeah.
But eventually they ran out, and then the people like after the initial buyout, then it's like 50. I'm like, oh, 50, okay, I'll buy for you.
Yes. It reminds me of a stock buyout, right? Think about a company buyout.
Yeah.
When you are buying a company in stocks, the shares just skyrocket absurdly. So you're gonna have to anticipate, hey, I'm gonna have to pay over 1,000 anyway.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to pay probably 4,000 at a certain point if I want to get as many shares as I want.
Yeah.
But then the question is, was that a good? Will it settle back? Will it stay at 4,000 at the highest? Do you think a reserveless card of that power, let's say Mishra's Workshop, would that have the legs to hold up at 4,000 to 5,000 if you bought out so many?
So one card that they can do that's from Legends, it's Tabernacle.
Okay, Tabernacle.
It's a very unique deck. It's so unique. Yes.
Yeah.
It's 2,000. I think that one can hold it.
2,000 to 3,000.
It's a land. People playing EDH. It's got to have massive appeal.
It's played in Legacy.
It's played in Legacy. It's played in EDH. Like it's so.
So you're not workshop is not. You're not confident.
The workshop, I'm not as confident in.
So I think workshop could also sustain a lot of value because you're playing 4 instead of 1.
Right.
So that's a big driver. It is played in Vintage, but Vintage obviously much smaller
the community
than Legacy.
But collectors, that's the key. You're taking all that supply out of the system for collectors.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, and I think it's, you know, again, if you're buying out just to make some money, you know, you're not going to want to buy in at $4,000. If you're buying just to say, hey, if I can buy these for $1,000 or $1,500, I can sell them for $2,000. Just get, you know, say you're trying to get $500 a pop.
But it's cost average. So let's say you buy some at 1,000, and they go spike to 5,000.
Sure.
You bought majority of them at 1,000 to 2,000, but they go to 4,000.
So that's the same with the 5 layout. I bought most of them at 2 and under 2.
Right.
And even if I buy a few at 10, and average, the amount I would buy at 10 is so small compared to the initial buy.
Oh, I think this is an interesting point. It really goes to if you're a single seller or if you're doing this as a business. Because if you're a single seller, maybe that's fine. You could be all invested in something.
Yeah.
If you don't need the money either way, if you buy a workshop for 1,000, you should be able to sell it for 1,000.
But then as a
you're not
business,
going to lose that money. As a business,
Daniel was talking about cash flow. You have to buy. If another great deal comes out, you have to have the money to buy it.
If you spend $1 million on this one card, you better have $100 million of total cash flow
to buy the next one,
or
buy the next one,
whatever.
To diversify your
that's
so you could take $1 million just to say, hey, I'm going to spike a card, a super good card like a Mox even, right? Just buy 400, 500 of a Mox Emerald, Mox Pearl, Unlimited or something.
You're going to struggle to find that.
I mean, you won't. That's true.
I think
people won't sell them.
And those exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you can you see this. You look at the creeping buy list prices, right? Because that's the other thing too. You know, you buy these cards and the buy list prices go because you know I have a set of power. It's not going anywhere. It's my set of power. I use it to play old school. I use it to play vintage. I'm not going to sell it. You know, unless I can't make my mortgage or something, I'm not selling those cards. You know, they're meaningful to me, and it's just having a bunch of cards is like fine, but at some point, are you holding them to just keep selling them, or you collect? You know, I think I saw recently there's a guy that has a big collection of Arabian Nights mountains.
Right.
I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, yeah,
He posted
yeah,
online.
300 something.
The rare, right? The rare mountain.
Raphael, he used to own part of Magic Bazaar in France.
Okay. So, that's an amazing collection. I'm sure at one point it was just a collection. Now it's also kind of an investment collection. It's become something separate.
No one's going to buy them.
Well, it's so much money, right? I can't remember how much it was.
Put into a mountain. And so let's say 300 mountains or whatever, 350 mountains or whatever. I mean, you're talking like so much capital to put like at least $60,000, $70,000.
Yeah.
And that's not even.
No, I wouldn't put that in a mountain.
So let me ask you a question. If that was like 50% of all the mountains in the world, okay? Would you then buy it versus Arabian Nights? There was what, like 10,000 mountains or 8,000 mountains? Let's say.
I think they're saying it's like less. It's 1%. I think is what he said.
Less, yeah. So my point is, I would actually buy it if it was like a larger percentage, like multi-double digit, right?
Yeah.
But if it's only like 1%, I'm like, no, there's too much ability to.
You can always be undersold by the other 99.
Exactly. Always.
Oh, you're charging 500. I'll do 410, and you never get a sale.
It's too much capital into a mountain.
Too much cash flow
Arabian
into a
Nights
mountain.
And also Arabian Nights Mountain. I mean, you have to only specifically go for red players. Has to be like collectors.
Probably like a mono red deck.
It's not. Yeah, you're not.
I mean, already, I think Arabian Nights mountains are around $100. I mean, you're already going for collectors at that.
If it was an island, I think it would be worth 10 times X.
Yeah.
Because the red, it's a mountain.
Right. Exactly.
If it's an island, Arabian Nights island, and the only thing that changed was it's an island, more people would play it.
Yeah. All right. So last part of this video, this is good. This is really good about buyouts. What about like? This is a question that comes up quite a bit for me.
Okay.
What happens when you get older? And so how are you?
31. I'm
39.
33.
Okay, guys, do the math here.
Very close in age.
Do the math here. Let's just say we add 30 years here. We're gonna either sell our cards, pass them along, whatever, right? What happens when the supply of we get older, we start dying off? Okay, are we really gonna pass these things on to like our grandchildren? I mean, for me, it's a company. I plan on doing that, right? I plan on passing on to either donation
it's
or
a
something.
business, yeah.
It's business, it's different. But you
pass on
guys
a business.
personally, with so much cards, with your $800, probably like $2,000 by the time he's dead.
I'm still buying.
Narwhals.
No, Narwhals.
Oh, yeah, I have less of those.
Narwhals. So my whole point is, what happens to those cards? Do you see the market tanking?
Well, I don't think that the market necessarily tanks if Magic survives as a game. But I think we see this with other collectibles from our parents' generation, older generations. You look at old vintage cards. You look at, I mentioned earlier, the 206, the baseball card.
T206.
T2, yeah. So those were huge investments. When we were, say, babies or very young, those were in their peak. And those investments, those collectibles have come down in value because the people that want them have decreased. So I think and you see this with vintage cards a lot. So if you look right now at cards from our childhood, from late 80s, early 90s, are spiking right now. Why? Because people have disposable income, and we're going back and buying those things for nostalgia. Pinball machines, another good example. Pinball machines have come down a lot in value because the people that play pinball machines in arcades, they're not buying. I don't have a whole lot of nostalgia for a pinball machine. So do I want to go spend $15,000? Not necessarily. I think we're going to see something potentially similar. If we talk about Magic Arena, okay, a Magic Arena becomes very successful. Do the cards still have their allure to my kids when they can just play online?
Right.
Maybe so. Maybe if Legacy is still a thing, if Vintage is still a thing, Old School is still a thing, people will still want the cards. I think.
But what's your bet? If you were to bet, let's say like 30 years down the road, do you see either a flood of people selling for retirement, for medical bills, whatever, or do you see growth? Or do you see stagnation?
I see steady growth for I'd say the next decade, 20 years probably.
But after 30 years when people start dying?
After 30 years, I think,
our generation.
Yeah, I hope I'm not quite there for dying yet.
But you know what I'm talking about. Like, we're getting to a point where things change, 30, 40 years.
That's the thing, right? If you, I don't know, if anyone goes, you inherit something from your parents,
Right.
Do you, and it's down to them, what do you do with it? You probably sell it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I get that still now. People are saying, hey, just sell it off. I'm not using it. Like the collection I just had from this doctor guy. He's like, yeah, I don't play anymore. Give it to someone who wants to play.
Correct.
He's older now, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm seeing now more and more.
Or your collection from Wozniak, it was his son, I think, right? That was sort of.
Yeah, his kids. I mean, he has 3 kids.
Yeah.
And the Wozniak collection is like, yeah, but he has also a beta set, some unlimited power. He's like, yeah, I'm eventually going to sell it. So there's no connection.
The kids don't have the connection to it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think you will see stuff come on the market, and that's tough because I think you have some stuff that's so high end,
Right.
that you're going to have some people that if something comes on the market, there's still going to be a market for it.
The highest.
It's not. Yeah, it's not like it's not like nobody's going to want it. So
Right.
it's not like anything's going to crash. I don't think anything crashes, but I think maybe there's a cooling of the market, and some of the high end stuff will still go for premium. So I think you see
Like the
that.
lower end stuff like Serendipity free. I mean, if bid for free. Who the hell wants to bid for free?
I think that's true. If people aren't playing, so right now
Yeah.
that's being driven by old school demand.
Right.
So that's all these people in their 30s plus
Right.
who are
Yeah.
buying it to play. I buy cards to play. That's what I'm doing with it. So I want to play a Serendipity free or whatever. If my kids have it,
They might never will.
they don't care if I paid $1,000 a card. To them, if they can get
$1,000 for something they enjoy, or real estate, or
Yeah, something else.
vacation. Yeah.
they're looking to buy their first
Yeah.
home, or
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
looking
yeah.
to pay off college tuition.
Tony, what are your thoughts?
Well, I like this high end stuff, and I like the low end stuff. The middle stuff, I think, is going to get slaughtered eventually.
Slaughter.
Because
Slaughter,
of reprints, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So reserve list cards will always have a limited amount. There's no more reserve list cards being made. So I think reserve list cards, I think, is relatively going to continue up even after we pass away, just because it is a collectible.
Yeah.
So it's collectible versus playable. Now the other thing is Bitcoins. So you don't know what actually is going to happen. I know Bitcoins happen.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people, MTG Oxor was actually Magic the Gathering Mox.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest Bitcoin exchange until, they got caught out and
Right.
they lost millions, billions of dollars of Bitcoins. And I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but Magic is movable. Like if I had Bitcoins and something, or I had a similar currency like Bitcoins, maybe Bitcoins X or something like that, and then I suddenly became rich, the first thing I would do is I would sell my Bitcoins, buy into Magic. And that's what a lot of people did.
So you still are bullish on Bitcoin?
I am bullish on Bitcoin right now at like the 3,000, 4,000 mark, but not at the 10, 15, 20. But a lot of people became millionaires overnight in our generation, and they said, I want to buy Magic cards. And that's why you see all the price spikes. But
Well, I'm talking 30 years from now. So
Yeah,
let's assume that Bitcoin goes up.
there might be something else.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
There might
saying
be
some
another
other
type
digital
of
currency,
another-
some other,
Well, the government
get rich
instills,
free.
the government instills
Digital
a currency that's their own, whatever. that
So
has official-
one of the main people who buy a lot of high-end Magic cards that I've run into is multi-level marketers. Like people who just came on to tons of money, because you can call it a scam, you can call it kind of a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid, but it doesn't matter, they have money. I went to a multi-level marketing convention in Las Vegas. Everyone there is driving a really nice car because they have money. They buy this stuff even if they don't play Magic because they know that it holds value. It beats the portfolio most of the time. And actually, one of the people in Houston that we're going to meet a little later, that's what he does.
Oh wow.
He's made
The
money.
guy who- your friend.
Yeah, supposedly he has a G-Wagon, so we'll see.
Nice.
So it's the people who buy G-Wagons who buy these stuff because it beats a portfolio.
Yeah.
The
So
reserve
non-registered
yeah.
asset. So what? Okay. So to clarify, you're saying that you both agree that the ultra high end is going to really
Yeah, if it's one of a kind, it's underground seed.
It's gonna outperform by mounds and.
But not by mountains, but it will outperform the stock market.
But in relationship to like we're talking like stuff that is like has like stuff that more nostalgic to our generation.
Yeah.
Like Serendipity free, if bid for free, Arabian Nights Mountains. Does that really have the leg? Arabian Nights Mountain, does that have legs to be a $5,000 card one day?
Not that one, no,
Yeah,
not that one.
But so there are pickers, there are things to pick, like Power 9 possibly, or high-end art, or specific cards like Alpha Lotuses that are so iconic. That's what you guys are saying?
Yeah.
But not the ones that are like, just like for example, Alpha 40s are there.
Yeah.
People want 40 Alpha cards to play like the original Alpha cards. Like, original like giant spider alpha. Do you think that card has legs to run up to $500, $1,000 one day?
No, that
absolutely not.
Legs.
Okay.
I think we've seen a cooling of that market already.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think a little
Interesting.
bit.
Okay.
it's the Action Comics. It's
Right.
those are the high end stuff.
That
It's
original
the Superman, Superman one,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Those first appearances is what when you're looking at art or you're looking at these.
And that's a great analogy, actually, guys, because like Scorched Ruins is a beautiful painting. It's weatherlight, but it will never, ever, ever compete with like Keldon Warlord. Even though Scorched Ruins may be
How much is Scorched Ruins?
it's probably like 50K tops, something like that. I mean, it's not 100. It's a beautiful piece.
It's a beautiful piece.
But in the test of time, John Avon's a famous artist.
Yeah, no, it's not
great
the
stuff.
artist.
But Alpha, just having the word, like even like Green Ward or Red Ward or Black Ward for Alpha.
Word of command.
The word of command will literally be, I will kid you not, $250,000 piece easily. Because right now, like if anybody owns a word of command, listen,
the buyer.
if anybody has a word of command, I will pay $75,000 for it right now.
Wow,
Any alpha,
really?
any alpha
Wow.
piece. No. There's a guy on the guy who owns the Black Lotus.
Yeah.
Painting.
Yeah.
He made a standing offer for any alpha piece. Doesn't matter shit
What it is.
the quality. $35K standing offer. So word of a command is a rare.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
but it's all
Doesn't
supply.
matter.
It's all supply. After you buy the 292 or 95 alpha pieces out there, they're gone.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's a very niche market.
Right.
So it's like a one of one within another one of one, the original set. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for watching. This was a great conversation. Thanks,
Yeah.
Tony. We'll have some other videos. Thanks, Simon, for your input. And what do you guys think? Put in the comments below. As usual, I don't edit crap. So hit thumbs up regardless. Take care, guys.